Hey rockers, welcome to Mama-Ology Psychology, where you get to peer into the minds of the owners of Mama-Ology Burgers. We're bringing you into our world, where we talk all things business, lifestyle, and our psychology. Hi rockers, welcome to Mama-Ology Psychology episode 11. Today we're talking about womanhood, and we have some delicious ladies with us today. Samantha, do you want to carry the baton?
We have the gorgeous Patricia Kihoro.
So delicious.
Yes. Singer, songwriter, actress extraordinaire, comedian, and TV and radio personality. Yes, she's gorgeous and awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. And to our right here, we have Sarah Mukabana.
Girl, do you know me?
Also known as Plus Wanga Princess.
Yes,
Correct.
heritage from the same Mukabana name.
Oh,
Right, like
okay.
there's a story behind it. I mean, I might tell it, I might not.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe later.
I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
yeah.
now we need to know.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell you. Fine, you twisted my hat.
So she's a confidence champion, yes, and self-love advocate.
Yes.
So we thought it would be great to invite these lovely ladies today to discuss this topic of womanhood, because last week we had manhood.
Yes,
we discussed manhood,
Yep.
and we wanted to have a nice conversation about womanhood and what it means today.
We need to balance the
Okay.
scales. It can't all be about men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, so let's get started. What do you guys feel is how do you feel women are represented today, and what do you think womanhood actually means?
I mean, man, womanhood. As in, I've particularly had a struggle with that definition because one of the things my mom used to tell me, we were just talking about my deep voice, and there was a time I used to my catchphrase was peace, and she was like, who is going to marry somebody who said peace? But then it's her favorite joke to tell about me, okay? And I was just like, but, and then the people I ended up hanging out with, when you go through that phase where you're like, I don't hang out with boys. I don't hang out with girls. I
Yeah.
just hang out with boys. And right now, you can't catch me dead. Let me hang out with the girls.
So your mother had worries about you
I mean,
not behaving in a feminine way.
Yeah, not quintessentially feminine. Like I still, even today, this is kind of why I wore shorts instead of like a skirt, because I'll probably end up just being like, you know what? I mean, not very like royal like, but like as in, because I'm just like, this for 2 seconds is cute, but then I just want to like
Just be free.
be
Be yourself.
free, So because I don't confine myself in those spaces, but I also think like I'm super girly. Like I'll cry at anything. Last week I cried because what was it? I was watching. It was something like really drama thriller thing, and I was just like, so
emotional.
and I was like, girl, get it together. But like I think womanhood is no longer what society taught us it was. It's essentially being yourself at its optimum and feeling as comfortable as you can in the space that you occupy.
So society. Let's start with what did society define it as in your mind?
I mean, in my mind, not me. Basically.
Everything
Not
that's
loud,
here today, all
dainty,
flowery,
demure, just
Yes.
like, oh, she's to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
It's
a demure.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's supposed to like not cause a ruffle, not cause a kerfuffle.
Yes. Not to have an opinion, do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't say not necessarily have an opinion, because I feel like a lot of the time, like especially in African society, a lot of the time you'll find it's the mom who really has the say so in the house. Like in public, she'll like let the husband you do the
Ask
big
your
show.
question now or never.
But like but essentially it's mom who's making the decisions at home, where the kids are going to school, what house we're gonna live in, what sort of food we buy. Like she's the one who's really like go and ask your mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
Go and ask your mother because she's more likely to know what's up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was necessarily an opinion thing.
Yeah.
It was more of an appearance thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So if
What,
you can
to
play
protect
the part,
to protect the male ego then?
yeah, for sure. Like, because I can't tell you the number of aunties who used to give their husbands money under the table to pay for the bill. I don't get me. I'm like, if I pay for the bill, bitch, it's everybody gonna know it's me. Okay? Because I'm the one who worked hard for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one who's giving you this enjoyment, not him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you get your kind of idea of how of what it means to be a woman?
Whew, you know, I don't even think that I subscribe to anything necessarily, you know, popularized by society or because I was a tomboy growing up.
Yeah.
And
I'm so sorry. I'm taking a
Yeah.
Shut
Well, Prosecco.
sorry, as I was going to say, I'm
Prosecco.
definitely afraid of
well, yeah,
loud pops. Sorry. Go
Sorry,
on.
go.
I think I thank you so much. Oh well, it's for breakfast. Oh, I forgot to say, you know, when you were introducing us, I forgot to say, welcome viewers.
Oh.
Karibuni
Karibuni.
watazamaji.
Never too late for
Mabibi
welcome.
na mabwana. It's something that I say all the time, but I say my bibis and my buanas.
Okay.
Yeah, my
I
bibis
like
and my
that.
buanas.
I like that.
I think I grew up with parents who were not necessarily conventional. They were pretty youthful.
Okay.
My mom would wear shorts and t-shirts, and she came off as very, very, you know, young. And I remember even one time there was a parent-teachers, you know, kids stay home and then the parents go meet the teachers. And my teacher told my mom, you know, we said we want parents, not siblings, not sisters.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was like, she's my kid.
That's very cool. That's very
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That's the kind of mum I want to be.
Yeah, you know.
Get mistaken for a sister.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I think I'm that mom, but I don't know that it's like in a good way. Like, I don't even think they're like,
it's good.
I think they're like, who? Did you hire somebody to come to, you know what I mean?
yeah. And I think, you know, because my folks were a lot younger than people my age. I was 2 years younger than everyone in school.
Okay.
But then, you know, I'd have classmates who are the last born. So their folks were like in their 50s. My folks were in their 30s.
Yeah, wow.
I know you were a genius.
And so I guess my parents were not very like, you know, wear a dress on Sundays and I could go to church in shorts. It wasn't very, what's the word? Authoritarian.
Yeah, they gave you the freedom to be you.
Exactly. Like I tell people I didn't have a curfew. I wasn't told, you know, girls do this, boys do this. They did have, you know, every once in a while the comments of, man, I can't even buy you a nice Christmas dress because it's going to be ruined because on Christmas Day I'll be playing with the kids outside climbing the trees, right? But there were, you know, family members and my folks, at times there were just comments of, you know, as a girl, this. It just wasn't too structured.
It seeped in.
Yeah,
but what I'm
sort of
curious
seeped
about, the
in.
Patricia you're describing when you're growing up is very different to the Patricia that I see now, which looks, from my eyes, kind of very feminine, well
which
put
is
together.
so interesting because like this morning I was going to pick up the car from my dad and he asked me, because he lives like 5 minutes from me, and so he asked me, oh, so did you take an Uber? And I was like, no, I took a boda boda. And he's like, but you can't go from a boda boda to, and then he said the car make, and I was like, but why?
No,
Why?
girl, I have an answer for that because I'm also very much a boda boda
Yeah.
girl, and like nobody
I love bodas.
As in, it's so convenient. So
Exactly.
this is what I decided to call them. That's my steed and that's my horseman, okay?
Right.
Because we
There
come from the
go.
kingdom, okay?
Yes, it's your chariot.
Yeah, that's my horseman.
And I think, you know, growing up, my mom was always like, oh man, I wish you were more girly. I'd have loved to play with your hair and buy you nice things.
But you weren't into that.
I was not.
Yeah.
But I grew up and I feel like I have my tomboyish days. And, you know, you could meet me today and I look so this. But yesterday, like, I looked very different. But I had my backpack. I had my errands that I was running. You know,
You're functional.
I was like, I've become those rich eclectic billionaires in the way I dress,
my God.
without the riches
Yeah.
and without the, because I was like, just comfort, you know?
Everything you speak, like Patricia, I feel so connected to you. Like everything you speak, like I was literally thinking about it today, and I was like, one of my ambitions is to be the eccentric billionaire.
Right.
I just wanna
Yeah.
do dumb shit
Yeah.
and people to be like, why would she do that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
because I'm rich, bitch.
I think what I like about where we are today,
Yeah.
when it comes to definitions of womanhood, and I really thought about it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's something that I sort of define for myself. It's just being 100%, showing up at 100% of who I am.
Yeah.
And just because I looked like a tomboy yesterday did not take away from my womanhood.
Yeah.
And, I love makeup, but then I also love, jumping on a boda and people confusing me for a boy. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like it for me, I feel like, every woman gets to decide what womanhood means for them. It doesn't have to be just because your genitals are, feminine. It doesn't have to be because you fit into a certain mold of what society says. If you don't, that's okay. You are still a woman. There's no 0%, 1%, 100% woman. Because at the end of the day, who I am and me showing up at 100 is my definition of what womanhood is. Is my definition of what feminine is.
But do you not feel like we're kind of in that position of privilege in terms of being in Nairobi, being in the city, and you've got to think of the context in which we're allowed to be women and we can be our authentic selves.
Right.
There are some places in the world where you cannot deviate from that model of being a woman.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I've never experienced that, but I just wonder for those women, like how it affects them psychologically. And does the concept of femininity or being a woman even exist? Is it just a construct?
I kind of feel like it is. I feel like, all right, you can be biologically a woman, but there are certain traits that you might adopt at certain times, and some of these traits are more deemed to be masculine or feminine. But it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, whether you adopt those traits. So. And also, from day to day, I can in the same way as you were saying, there might be one day where I feel like dressing up in a pretty pink dress, and there are other days where I'm going full tomboy, and the thought of being girly disgusts me. so you can go to those extremes, and I think it's a great thing that you can have. We have the privilege of being able to choose from day to
Make
day.
that choice.
Yeah, to suit your character, your personality at that time.
But I totally identify with what you're saying, because when I was younger, I was the biggest tomboy. I was seriously the biggest tomboy. I used to wear football shirts and anything feminine. I wasn't even interested. And I think what killed it for me is I was getting on a public bus in the UK. I was sitting at the front seat. A group of boys were at the back seat, and they're like, "Oh, is that a woman or is it? It's a boy. I can't tell." And it was about me, and that killed me. I was like,
oh no,
oh my God, I look like a boy. I need to do something about
I
this.
had an experience like that with my mom.
Really?
I was in shorts, my hair was short. Like I'd actually asked because I used to have really long hair, and then one day I wanted a haircut. So it was short, but I was also pretty small. So one day we're in town shopping with my mom. I'm in my sneakers, my shorts, t-shirt, but I had my little studs, right? My ears were pierced when I was maybe 6 months old. And I remember this man just starting to follow us and just shouting, "How dare you? How dare you put earrings on boys?"
Wow.
And he followed us. Now he's just castigating my mom and saying that this is how society is being broken down. You are spoiling our children. Da, 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 da. And I'm looking at this guy like I'm a girl, but it didn't make me feel bad. For me, I was just like, this is so hilarious. My mom obviously felt a threat, so we entered a supermarket to sort of get away from him. But it never, whether I look like a boy or a girl, it didn't make me feel bad. I think I've always just been really, well, then I was just very into who I was, and it didn't make me feel bad in any way, but I just found it very amusing.
Actually, I'm glad.
But I feel like it would under the assumption that you were a boy who had effeminate traits, it
Yeah.
would like rattle you, wouldn't it?
It did not to me, but I guess because my mom also has always been very, my kids
are my kids.
my kids are my kids, and they make their choices,
Yes.
right? So she didn't even try to tell the guy, no, it's a girl.
Yeah.
She was just like, it
shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
Bother.
If it's a
Like,
boy and he wanted
Yeah.
earrings, he gets to, like, I'm his mother.
Yeah.
So if I let him, then it's
what's
his
it
choice.
to? Yeah.
So that for my mother, she didn't even bother like telling him, oh no, this is a girl. It was she was just more like screw you. But the same thing happened. We had this lady who used to help us in our house, I guess nanny and she one day I put on like a really short skirt because I was a tomboy, but I would wear shorts. No, it was hot pants, and these are hot pants that my mom had when she was young, and she kept them for her daughter. So I was wearing them, and the lady then just went in on me. She's like, "How you can't wear such clothes? You're going to make your brothers stumble and da 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 da." You know, like from the Bible.
Like as if my brothers are supposed to look at me like that,
right?
You know what I mean?
I remember changing. I put on longer shorts, and I remember just sitting in the house like I felt really bad. And when my mom came home that evening, I told her what had happened, and she went to the lady and told her, "You don't tell my kids what they can or cannot do.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to," and I guess the language wasn't there at the time. I didn't understand. But she said, "You're not going to sexualize my kids. These are short. She's a child.
Yeah.
She can wear whatever the hell she wants." At that, and I remember telling my mom, she said, "I'm making my brothers fall."
Wow.
Like in my
that
head,
shows
it's like,
more
how is-
about that person's mind than you.
Yeah.
But what about as adults? Do you feel any more freedom in what you're allowed to wear or not allowed to wear?
Can I just jump in and add to what you're saying? I feel like she's putting her psychology on you, firstly, and secondly, I feel like that was a very direct observation of her telling you shouldn't wear shorts, inappropriate. But what about the indirectness? So like social media, film, and the perception of being a woman, how does that affect you as an adult, or does it affect you as an adult, like you're saying, how you're supposed to be as a woman, what you're supposed to do?
So I've actually been having this debate with my daughter. She's 10 years old. I know nobody should have put me in charge for 10 years.
I'm sure you're a great mother.
She's great. I mean, she's great. I don't know about me. That's a whole other. And everybody thinks I'm going to raise like this overtly feminist, nudist who's just going to be like screaming from the top of her lungs.
That sounds like fun.
On a protest. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd like to meet that woman.
Everybody is kind of like ready for me to raise that child, but like she's like the complete opposite. She's like, okay. Yeah, she's very like chill.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like she's been going through, she's an extremely girly girl. Like she likes her pedis, she likes her princess dresses and pink everything and purple everything and blah 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 blah. And then suddenly she comes up and she's like, "Oh yeah, you know me, I'm a tomboy." I'm like, "Girl, please." Where? And she's like, "No, you know me, I like, mommy, I like to like rough it up with the boys and whatever." I was like, you could rough it up and still like your pedicures. Like, you don't have to suddenly change your entire personality because you enjoy a specific activity, right? Or enjoy specific traits. Like, you could be extremely masculine and love your pedicures. You could be extremely feminine but love your sports cars. Like, it doesn't have, they don't exist in mutual exclusivity, right?
But she's lucky to have you as a mum to tell her that's okay. But there are mums out there who will shut it down and be like, "That's not what girls do."
And I just, here's the thing, I met Boniface Monkey the other day and I told him, I'm not like with you in the country fight, but like in family, that's me right there. Because I almost wish like I was like a transgender nudist who's like into like anything my family deems
proper,
scary, or like that.
She
like,
wants to
"Oh
do.
no, don't do that." I'm like, guys. By the way, imagine your life has not changed. Even if I was right this very minute, if I was just like poof, I turned into your scariest nightmare.
I'm still your
nothing in your life. No, look, nothing in your life has changed. Everything in mine maybe has, but nothing in your life has changed.
It's all about being you in your fullest expression,
in your space.
And why should that impact someone else.
Like that guy who was so aggrieved when he saw a boy with earrings.
Yeah.
Why does it affect someone else so much? It
How
shouldn't.
old were you, by the way?
At the time, I must have been 9, but I was much smaller than like I was 9. Everyone else was 11, but also because my hair was short and I was a skinny kid, so I looked really small. So I may have looked like a 7-year-old boy to him, you know. But just to come back to your point about us being privileged and having the privilege of being able to express ourselves as we do, as we choose to, because we live in the city and we have these, you know, freedoms to just exist
And being
and
fortunate
be,
to be around parents who
have allowed us,
the
or even
expression,
if they haven't, you know, there's not much that they're doing to us. Like it's there are women, you know, who, if they choose to go against what society tells them they should be, are at the danger of, like, at the risk of even dying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to bring it back, I do think that what is defined as feminine or what is defined as womanly is a societal construct, because I know right now we're talking about, you know, you're wearing a pink dress and, you know, we like our heels, but way back when pink was a men's color.
Yes.
Yeah.
And heels, and men wore heels.
were
And
for
wigs.
men.
Yes, that's
And
it.
wigs. But then, you know, like the narrative always changes to suit whoever is in power.
And men wore makeup too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now that, you know, it's not African to show skin, but it really was less than 100 years ago, us walking with our boobs out.
It
It really
flapping
is.
about. Somebody
Exactly.
take me back.
So I feel like all these definitions of who we are supposed to be are only supposed to fit into this mold that serves whoever
What is the narrative?
whoever is in the position of power, right? And so
even beauty standards as well.
even beauty standards, it's always the person who's at the top who then can oppress everybody else, who gets to set the rules about what is feminine, what is beautiful, what is success, what is deemed as attractive, desirable. And I just
appropriate.
But that's why I love what you're
Yeah.
both saying, because it's about taking your power back. We need to reclaim our power and be like, no, I'm not going to do what society dictates to me or media dictates to me.
Yeah.
Let me discover who I am and let me be that person.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like also what femininity and womanhood are defined as now, sometimes also those things are put in place to serve as to then elevate the men in our lives so that they can also feel more masculine. And I say that in the context of, if you have, you know, a couple living together and the husband is the breadwinner and the wife chooses to stay home and take care of the home as a choice, but then he is laid off and then she finds work and then she begins to support the home. Some people will say that's so emasculating, or they will advise the woman, you know, maybe just give him all the money so that he can still feel like he's taking care of the bills, so that you don't take away his masculinity.
Can I give you a story time about that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm way past the situation, but when I was in my previous relationship that was like serious and we were leading to marriage, and I was the breadwinner in that situation. And then eventually there was a day his mom and dad called us. I thought it was just going to be a regular lunch.
Yeah.
They're going to see the grandkid. We have lunch. And usually because they were not very they were not taken by me. They I knew they didn't like me, so whenever like we went to hang out, I sort of resided myself to like the silent nanny of the child. Like whatever they didn't want to do with the baby, I was there to like catch So we get to lunch and it suddenly turns into like this whole grilling thing, and he was like, so the dad came at me and he was like, so you know, you should let my son lead. And I was like, wait, hold up.
Where did this come from?
Sorry. And wait, what? We were just eating fish. Like, I'm not, ignore me. Okay. And he was like, yeah, you should let my son lead. And you know, so you've decided that you're the man in the house, eh?
Wow.
I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you should, you know, you just want to be the one who wears the pants in the house and you're the one who makes the decision. And I was like, first of all, sir, Michelle. Anyway, I, without mincing my words, I was like, and tried to be as respectful as possible. I told him the way I was brought up by my parents was to be self-reliant and self-independent. That is what I've tried to do with us here in this family. I was also taught that you do not let your family go to the wayside because nobody is there to lead. So if the space is there, you either take it upon yourself or you step aside for somebody else to do it. He was not stepping up at the time to do it. And I remember like going back to my mom, because this whole meeting happened and it was sort of like me against them.
So it felt like an ambush.
It felt like it really did. Like by the time I left there, I felt like I'd been like fighting and we almost came to blows. That situation was wild. I might tell it on my social media soon.
It was that provocative.
Hey, yo, like that nigga went in on me. Like he was like, so, and like he asked, and so the conversation started with, he asked my partner's mom, like, so tell me. No, first he was like, Sarah, tell me what you don't like about me. So I was like, I don't know you well enough to have pet peeves about you, but you know. So I was trying to be like very kosher about it. Then he was like, oh, okay. Hey, Mama and Nani, can you then tell us what you don't like about this guy?
Wow. So he was trying to do the discussion. Like, you tell us and we can tell you.
Yeah, and like every negative thing. So at the time I smoked, and so it was like, but she drinks and she smokes, and the funny thing about that answer was my mom and her knew each other from the club. So I was actually looking at her like, girl, did you say
wow?
So it's important to her how she's seen as well.
I guess the feminine way. And part of the issues that we had with my partner was the fact that I don't make breakfast in the morning. I don't make breakfast because breakfast genuinely means nothing to me, right? As in, like in general, like unless like I'm waking up and I'm like, ooh, I want to eat this. But like I'm not like, breakfast. You know, it's not a thing for me. So,
but that was expected of you.
But it was expected of me. And even my kid today, she's like, right now she's old enough to do her own thing. But like, she had to be like, yo, mom, it's breakfast time. Hello. And I'm like, okay, let me make you something.
Sorry, this story is really annoying me.
It is. It's so crazy.
I had the opposite experience growing up because my dad is the one who was, he's the cook.
In the family.
Right? So he's the one who spends more time in the kitchen. It's something that he loves to do. There was a time when he was self-employed, and after Christmas when the nanny doesn't come back, so mom has to go back to work because she has a job, and dad is like, cool, I'll stay home, stay with the kids. I remember cleaning the house with my dad, making it a fun thing while my mom went to work. I never grew up with those stereotypes of if like I don't think I ever grew up in a home that required the women or the girls to be smaller so that the men could take their place.
To shrink.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that that's what I saw or that's what I experienced growing up. Not to say that, we were completely like the opposite end of what a typical African family was, but I'm glad that those were the things that I saw. Those are the things that, I grew up knowing that a family is a team. A couple is a team. You do things together. You support each other.
Fluid because life happens.
Exactly. Nobody's gonna be at 100 all the time. Sometimes things go like this, so it's a balance. I used to watch films with my dad. Like that was our thing. We'd watch films together. We'd go to the car bazaar together. Like I just wasn't interested in girly things or what was deemed girly. I did like the dresses that my dad would buy when he traveled, but I'd wear them one time and it's over. And I think I'm very grateful that I had the privilege of seeing that, and it does then inform who I am today. I know there are some concerns that at my age, am I seeing anybody? Where are the children? But they don't give me that pressure.
Yes. You're very lucky there.
I'm very lucky that I don't get that pressure.
Yeah.
But I know it's a concern. I'm not living also like in this
yeah.
cloud where I think that nobody's like, what's going on? But at the same time, I think based on what I've seen, I also have the luxury of being able to make a choice to say, yes, I do want to get married. Yes, I do want to have children, but I'm not going to do it because I'm getting older or because there's pressure. And I'm glad that I have that privilege of not really feeling like I'm now deemed as less than because I'm now 35 and I have no man and I have no children. What does that mean about me? Trust me, I am more terrified of going through a divorce than I am of being married later. You know?
But like I was doing my research, as all responsible people should do for a podcast, and apparently there is a marriage crisis, an international marriage crisis, because women over the time are becoming more independent, they're making their own money, so the values have kind of shifted where we're not relying on men to be the breadwinners. So dynamics have changed. So I don't know how much I believe in statistics because I think they can be manipulated, but apparently the expectation women have now, because they're earning, is they expect men to earn 55% more than what they earn. And what's causing this kind of marriage crisis is that that's not grounded in any kind of reality. That men aren't earning 55% more than women. So women are like, you know what? I'd rather be alone. I'd rather be independent, make my own money than, be the guy who earns the same or less than me. And I found that really kind of disturbing because I thought, okay, is it all become a money conversation? There are other things.
Should women maybe change their expectations?
Here's the thing. I saw a meme that said the problem with marriage right now is that men are supposed to be likable now.
Yeah, they need to have personality.
Now you gotta impress me.
Yeah, there was a whole Twitter thread that somebody wrote, and it was like, now that women are able to support themselves and they don't need the actual needs, like material needs taken care of by a man, men are having to find personality now and other ways to show their desirability.
That's a good thing.
Because honestly, I don't need a man to buy the house, to take care of my niece, to take care of the kids. And men are finding it difficult because it's like, okay, I can't flex with this job or this car anymore because
So
because they have that for themselves.
I mean, that's what the argument was. They were saying that men need to be a bit different. So it's about, can he support me emotionally? Can he be there for me in other ways apart from financial ways? So things are shifting.
And we discovered.
I think one of the thing that irritates me about the narrative that's going on now, that like all chicks have become so money minded. It's like no romance without finance. You know what I mean? Like, but I really think like most sensible people are not necessarily asking for that. They're asking for ambition, goal setting.
Exactly.
Like, I might meet you when you're just starting out in your career or you've just changed your career and like you're in the process of relearning everything. But like, show me that you have vision. Show me that you have a plan. Show me that we can build something together. Because one of the most irritating things, guys, do not do Tinder. is like a lot of, I don't know, is it because I'm fat, people? People have been asking me for transport to come and date me. What is happening?
Wow. Really?
And I'm like, I'm not asking you for transport. Like, I am at...
Excuse me.
They shouldn't be
I
dating.
am not even joking. It's happened to me 3 times.
I thought at least pride would have stopped that question.
I mean, guys tell me, like, look at me.
No, they must be true.
That's the state of affairs.
Please come off Tinder.
They must
I mean,
be,
I did.
Yeah.
I stay on there for content. Like,
Okay.
it's hilarious now because I'm just like... But I'm just like...
So it's happened more than once.
It's happened 3 times, girl. Like, what is happening?
Wow.
But also, there's the trope that, the broke, skinny guys are the ones
who are into the fat girls.
No, not about fat girls, but like give the best strokes.
I mean, that's
like, they really like...
That's not all the way wrong.
And I
but all I'm asking for is a billionaire with strokes. Like, what?
But
Girl,
but,
it seems like you got a story to tell.
But
Go on.
you see, we're looking for
Tell us, girl.
There's too much stutter in there.
I resonate with what you were saying. That it's not just about the money.
Do you want to share?
I mean,
Yeah.
I never found out about the strokes because I never said
It's
the
not.
transporter.
It's not. But I get what you're saying. It's not about what do you have a job or what? It's it doesn't mean that if I choose to see someone, if I choose to date you, you have to have this amount of money in your bank account or this kind of a job. Maybe you're in between jobs, but in our conversation, I can see that you're somebody who can
Has
make
a
things
vision,
happen. You
yeah.
have a
Has
vision,
things
you have
going
goals,
on.
there's things you're working
Yeah.
towards. So, and I think that's where they sort of like miss the mark when they're like, oh, because I do feel like sometimes if a woman is working constantly and just hustling and doing her thing and buying the cars and living large, a man will say, or people may say, oh, she's just all about the money. She's money minded. You've seen the way to like, and when
It's not
really,
about that.
She
No.
wants a comfortable
it's not,
life.
it's
Are
not,
you gonna
it's not,
soft
yeah.
life?
She wants to find her equal.
Yes.
And also, it could be equal mentally.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Thank
have
you,
to be
yeah.
like fiscally we're in the same place.
Yeah.
It's just because I mean, you could be broke today, and in 2 years
Yeah,
you
things
are
can
on
change.
some list
Yeah.
as because it's not about where you're at now materially. It's also just finding someone who is a great partner
Yes.
in every way, but for you, because also what's a
Did
great
you
partner
hear
for
how
you?
guys sounded like a choir right
Yeah, partner.
What's a great partner for you might not be a great partner for
Yeah.
me as
Yeah.
well.
Because
And
everybody's needs are
are
different. I
different.
remember you mentioned this before, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, I've got my own trajectory, right? And the partner that I'm looking for is someone, because I'm fighting all day. Literally every day is a fight.
Yeah.
I want to be able to come home and be like, have someone to emotionally support me.
Yeah.
Be her peace, kings.
Yeah. And just to be peaceful and be peaceful.
Yeah.
And I suppose and to be in my femininity in that I just want to be calmful, peaceful Samantha.
and also in what that femininity means for you as well, because
Yes.
it could be a very different thing
Yeah.
for me. You know, it could be worlds apart, which is why I don't think we should be subscribing to no, this is what a feminine
We shouldn't have to
woman,
conform.
you know, this is like the epitome of a woman.
Yes.
I had a friend who got very like self-conscious about her femininity, and she's like in a great job with a great husband, and like life has been great, like it's been good, but because she was suddenly around like glam spaces, like she was doing like a lot of photo shoots and stuff like that, like she was in production, but like around that energy, and she suddenly started like questioning whether she was sexy enough, like because she's very much like a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl, but she's also like very much soft life kind of girl. So she's in a t-shirt and jeans but with a glass of champagne, you know what I mean, like she's just, you know what I mean, she's just a girl living her life. And I felt so bad that she felt like that because social media is putting so much pressure on.
So she was questioning her femininity.
What kind of what defines femininity and stuff like that. But they're more power to you. I love makeup, so I put on makeup more often than not. But like a lot of the time, I'm also like, somebody described me like that was in 2017, not anymore. But somebody in the office at the time described me as, they were trying to describe me to somebody else, and they were like, oh, that girl who looks like she's about to have like a fashion faux pas any second right now, because like I was always with the teddies, like, and they're always like very in
Free.
motion. So it's always like, is it gonna happen? Right?
But why would somebody say that?
I mean, these days I just I forgive people a lot. Like people
What does it
say,
take to be you? What does it take? Because you are very confident in who you are, and
You seem very
a lot of
self-assured,
people can
very
learn
vivacious.
from that.
most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I want to say like 90% of the time I'm very sure about who I am.
Yeah.
But like, of course, there's days that somebody will say something and I'm like, damn. And like the other day, I was so shaken. I went to the CBD everywhere I went, everybody was just like, because I went in downtown CBD, and everybody was just like, Momo, hey, size your mind, nini. Like, they were just basically like always making commentary on my body. And I mean, I've gotten used to it because it's happened the whole time. But every now and then it does get to me. However, one of the things that I've come to accept is the fact that because people are afraid to have honest conversations, which is why you walk into a room and somebody will say, oh no, you're not fat. You're just, I'm like, bitch, I'm fat. Like, I'm not even like on the precipice of, like, let's not do that. But fat is not insulting. It's descriptive. It's an adjective. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's, she's pretty. She's smart. She's kind. She's fat. It's okay. Like, and I mean, whatever. But then there's days like somebody will say, oh, you're so fat. And you're just like, ugh, I did not need to hear that today.
No,
It's kind of like the same way where somebody would say, ugh, you didn't dress like a lady today. And you're like, I didn't need to
No, but that tells me more about that person. That's ugly.
That, so,
ugly.
and but here's the thing. But I also have learnt, like, compassion in that ugliness. I'm like, here's the thing. You don't know anything about me, and I don't know anything about you. I don't know if, like, you had a cruel woman who was the one who was your primary caregiver, and she happened to be fat. So your connotation of fat people is that, you know, so you're willing to spew hate because hurt people.
Yeah, because they were hurt by a fat person.
Or they just were not given those kinds of conversations. Like, nobody was having honest conversations with you about, like, what life is, what femininity is, what masculinity is, what finances are, what careers, whatever the topics of or ethos of how you were brought up is. I have compassion in every facet of my life. Sometimes to my detriment, I think, because like trying to balance that whilst balancing your boundaries, like, you cannot cross this line with me, is very difficult. But, like, I think my cousin the other day said, I want to put fear the way you do in people, but with kindness the way you do. I'm like, what? Because I was causing for people about doing a TikTok, and my mom hates that, and I always do that. She's just like, we are not involved in your things. But, like, I'm like, she was just basically like, so what I think she interpreted, what I interpreted it as is firmness with kindness.
How do you do that then? Because you said you're compassionate.
Yeah,
but then you also have boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, it's a learning process because I didn't have the boundaries. Okay, I always had compassion because, I mean, you guys, my parents are weird people. They hoard people. It's crazy. But I've always had compassion. It's the boundaries that I had to learn, right? So it's still a work in progress, I want to say. But, like, I'm not afraid to say no now. I'm like, I mean, your feelings would be hurt. Yes. I apologize for that. Yes.
It is what it is.
You'll breathe.
Yeah, you know, I get the thing you mean about boundaries as well. Like, it's I don't think, especially being, like, growing up here, boundaries for us were never a thing that we were taught. Like, you accommodate, you say yes, saying no is rude. Like, even the word consent now, like, what do you mean you have to ask a 3-year-old if I want to hug him? You tell them to go hug him. You know, so those are not things that we were brought up with. And in our adulthood, trying to unlearn that, and then now starting to inculcate the culture of boundaries, the culture of consent, the culture of, you know, letting people know that this is not okay, or this is as far as we can take this. It's very difficult for a lot of us to do. And it's when she says that, learning, like, I can get the compassion bit as well, because another thing that I sort of think about is, if somebody can be mean to somebody in some way, it just means, no, I don't think that they're doing it. When somebody says something that makes you feel bad or feel uncomfortable, they're only doing that because for them, one, why should you be confident?
Yeah.
So I need to bring you down a notch so that I can feel
Who do you think you are?
exactly.
Yeah.
And to
dare
me,
you.
that's an insecurity that speaks more to the person who says something, trying to diminish you. And so I can understand the compassion, because it just means that there's something that they're dealing with. And the only way that they know how to feel better about themselves is to make somebody else feel worse or feel small. And so it's like, you can't take me down, because all that says is that you're not cool with yourself. And sometimes they don't understand, how dare you have the audacity to be 35 and childless? How dare you have the audacity to live your life like you do without a husband? Like, I had to find a husband so that I can feel like, I've achieved some goal. So how dare you be so proud of who you are when I've done all the things you haven't, and I still feel like shit.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, I feel like we've also been demonized for wanting companionship. Do you think so? Like, whenever, like, for us to be over 30 and being like, yeah, I do want to find marriage, so I'm placing myself in the positions to find a partner and stuff like that. Suddenly it's like, kwani unaitaka sana, kwani you're so desperate, and I'm like, wow, because I put in effort for something I care about.
People put effort in when they write a job description.
So why not in dating?
What's the bloody difference? And I'm just like, so I feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this is like the reason why I'm just like, what, girl, be you. As in, penye starehe yako itakushikia.
How do other women take you? I mean, I want to talk about how
women love
supportive.
Me. I should be a lesbian. Create appeal to rid me of the disease that is loving dick. You get me? Like, and I'm just like, women love me, okay? As in, I'm always like, some girl is just like, girl,
the number of times it's like,
women in general love confident women.
Because this is the thing that, I mean, I don't know whether this is true, like, because I'm really just like very new into this like whole social media game and stuff like that. But like, a lot of the comments I've gotten is, oh my God, just being around you, I feel more confident. And I'm like, wait, what? How? I mean, no, tell me how, so that I can bottle it and sell it for 10,000 shillings a pop. But like, women enjoy being in powerful spaces. And this is why I guess like men run the world for women a bit of the time, because we enjoy being in powerful spaces, right? And once women started like flipping the script on that, we were like, oh. And I think this is how when you grow up, when you're younger, you're like, oh, I don't hang out with girls. But then when the older you grow, you're like, please, I want to get married, but only hang out with girls. Is that possible? Like, can we do that? I want to, like, we can hang out. Like, you can be my roommate. But I want to hang out with my girls.
I think the crux of it could be, and I'll only speak of this in the context of some of the messages that I receive from other women who say things like, I love that you are not afraid to say that you're single or to say your age. You're not afraid of what people will think. And you're giving me permission to also own who I am. And I think that's the thing. Like in living in societies where women have to ask for permission to fully exist and to fully occupy the spaces they're in, when they see women who seem like they didn't have to ask for permission, it almost frees them.
A switch is switched on.
To be like, oh, wait, look at her. I like her. I admire her. And she didn't ask for permission. I don't need to ask for permission either. And so when you do that, even for just one person, I think that's why they will say, I love being in your space and I love being around you.
Which is why like representation and like even on speaking on the point of privilege, we are privileged to have been in spaces where we were allowed to flourish as we were, because you three are such incredible women. And like the environments you were in allowed you to be these incredible women, good or bad or whatever. But like either way, it allowed you to flourish to who you are today. And that's why
But I feel like it was something we had to fight for, though.
We did.
Yeah.
Like, no, obviously nobody ever like understands the struggle. All they see is
the final
wow,
product.
Final
Mama-Ology,
product.
you know, and they're like, oh my God, successful
Yeah.
businesswomen,
Yeah.
successful
And we had the
personalities.
privilege of also being able to fight. There's some
Yeah.
women who in the fight lose their lives.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
so we have had the, I know that we are extreme. I will even speak for myself. There's extreme privilege on the things that I say based on my past experiences and based on how I was raised. So just, you know, to add on to your point about the privilege.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off.
As in, it's absolutely, you're absolutely right. Like, as in, it's just, it's kind of the reason why I'm willing to be. My mom thinks I'm very provocative. Like, I do things to like just
to get a reaction.
And I'm like a little bit, but not for the reasons you think.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the Kanye.
Mm.
I'm trying to I'm not trying to piss off him. I'm trying to get Patricia to like be like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's very intentional then, what you're doing it intentionally.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a happy accident, I won't lie.
Yeah.
But like but for the most part, like I'm willing to be the martyr of like I'm willing to be the chick who walks in with like an extra goth outfit so that you feel comfortable in your shorts. Yeah. So that in comparison, they're like, oh, at least you're not Sarah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
you're loud, but at least you're not as loud
Yeah,
as Sarah.
wow.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, if I do that for you, because again, I do have the privilege to be like, I have love, I have so much support from my family. Like, my family finds me eccentric, but they're like, you know what, let Sarah do.
They let you be.
Just
you.
let Sarah do her thing because you cannot fight
No,
with
but
her.
think about it this way: how boring would this world be if we all were that ideal feminine woman? There'll be no texture, there'll be no nuance, there'll be no. It's so boring. So
But
I think you're there. Sorry,
yeah.
go on.
No, go on.
No,
No, I wanted to share some. We asked our followers about a topic that isn't really talked about very much. We asked them, what qualities do you value and appreciate in other women? Okay. And honestly, it's something that we don't talk about enough. And I feel like women, we are supportive of each other, but it needs to happen more. Yeah. Yeah. And
I feel like we're supportive of each other to an extent. We still, one of the things I think we're still fighting is when we feel like we can still relate, we can, you're still with us. Then we're like, oh my God, girl, go, do you. Yeah. But then the moment Patricia is now in Hollywood and I can no longer be like, hey Patricia, you remember that one time we were at the podcast together, remember? And she doesn't, and honestly, if she's at Hollywood level, she's dealing with Hollywood shit. Like, she's a little busy, girl. I'm calling it for you. You know what I mean? I see you. She's busy. So she's not like, it's not ignoring me. It's just time, right? Then suddenly I'm like, even that time I met her, it's not like she even like was like, you know what I mean? Like, we suddenly get into this battle, but understand this, like, her growing beyond your reach doesn't mean you cannot keep growing yourself, because your paths are completely different, right? And two, just if you have, especially if you've seen where a woman has come from, why would you hate on the success? This was the whole point. It was the whole point of everything that happened. It was to get to a different level of success. It was to get to a different level of transcendence, right?
And you can use that person's path to help you grow. You can emulate something, learn something from the mistakes they made, because we're lucky enough to have such beautiful personalities to let us into their lives and let us learn from their mistakes, or at least
and successes.
Relate. From their mistakes and successes, because it helps you fail forward. This is what I mean. This is like the whole point. I've rambled.
I would say, like, I love women who share their stories, not just their triumphs, but also the things that, you know, they're vulnerable, points, the things that
and
they
the difficult things that they went through.
exactly,
yeah, to
or
get
might
there.
still go through, you know.
Yeah.
Like I would love to say that I am fully confident now and that I love my body, but I've always had issues with my body and how it
I
looks.
think everyone does.
You know, like I'm still
And
like
it's on a
struggling to
day-to-day
wear
basis,
shorts
yeah,
because
yeah.
you know, like cellulite, and I know that it shouldn't be a thing, but at the same time,
You're human.
I'm human. So it's not to say that because I sit here and I'm able to speak to 1, 2, 3 on this end, that I don't struggle with 1, 2, 3 on this end.
Do you know what the difference is? I feel like we all have our own insecurities. I think everybody has their own insecurities. But, well, for me anyway, like I'm probably the most insecure person. Well, I perceive myself to be. But it doesn't, I don't let the fear win. Like I just do it anyway. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people fall down, is that they let the fear consume them and they just stay on that side of the fence because it's safe.
Yeah.
So it's a constant mental battle. Like
a lot of us are very comfortable in our sadness.
Yeah.
We're used to strife and sadness, and like we don't know what to do with happiness. We're like, I'm happy now. I mean,
but some
am I
people
supposed
have
to
been
be?
taught. No, some people have been taught that struggle is moral.
Yeah.
And so the
Oh
more
my
you
God.
struggle, the more your reward.
Okay.
Right?
yes.
So they say that life is about struggle. I was
Yeah.
having a conversation with a family member just recently, and she made that statement. It's just that was not the time to be like, nah. But, she just said, yeah, but, life, we have to struggle. And so people don't even believe that they deserve happiness if they haven't struggled through something. And they don't believe that they deserve greatness or that they deserve to achieve something if they don't have the struggle to support it.
No, but it's also the lenses you're using. Like the word struggle, it could be seen as something different. Maybe it's there to strengthen you, to make you stronger, and you wouldn't be at point B if it wasn't for that hardship that you faced at point A. So I just feel like it's about what lens are you looking at that struggle with.
Some people will actually not take an opportunity if it comes to them too easy because they're like, no, there's a catch.
There's a catch.
So it's that thing of believing that you actually deserve something without having gone through pain
To get
and
Yes.
suffering to get it. And so once people start to believe, and I'm even speaking to myself, because there's things that I've just been like, I'm not ready for that, or that's not for me, or I don't deserve that. There's things that I've turned away from because I didn't believe that I was the person to take up that space. And if I, knowing myself and knowing all the things that I have passed on, because I didn't believe that I deserved them, I can't imagine. And I'm speaking from a place of privilege, and even looking at my past, believing that I have worked hard was difficult, because if I work hard at things that I enjoy, then I really haven't struggled.
Yeah.
But for people from the outside looking in would always be like, Patricia, you work so hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it. So I can't imagine what now people who, when the promise is, milk and honey, go through the pain and suffering, and it's
40 years in the
righteous.
desert
It's
to get to
righteous.
Canaan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's righteous for you to struggle.
Yeah.
And only through that righteousness can you take up the reward. I can't imagine now people who don't have the privilege of having choice, one, and who don't have the opportunities, who believe that whatever shit they're going through is supposed to be there in their lives because the reward is not now, it's later.
Well, they're totally limiting their potential,
And they don't
they'll be
know
stuck
that.
there. And that's really sad for me, because I feel like the world is our playground. I feel like I'm not materialistic, but I feel like these are things that we're all here for us to enjoy.
Right.
Like the material things, we're worth so much more than the Lamborghini, for example.
Yeah.
We're human beings, And I feel like our minds are limiting us from achieving our full potential. But anyway, you're getting on to a point about and it's kind of, we got carried away. You did a shout out to, you asked a question.
Yeah, so I asked the public what they admire in other women, okay? And so things like assertion came up, just, women that they can see being assertive and standing up for, what they believe in and who they are, they actually really admire, maybe because they themselves feel like they don't have that themselves. And
there you are.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your
So
audience.
we need people like you out there, showing people.
Plus Hunger Princess.
Yeah.
Plus we're
Follow.
follow.
So the things like this are coming up quite a lot.
Yeah.
So assertion, independence, resilience. You know, these are all powerful words that are not necessarily traditionally linked with being feminine. But this is what people appreciate. And then also things like self-love, which is another thing that you stand for.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the thing that drives me is how much, I mean, I feel like I've complained a lot about my mom, but like she's really the reason I am me. Like if you meet her, my mom is 10 times me.
Wow.
Right? I know.
So you're the toned down version.
I'm the toned down
Wow.
I've seen a little of her on social media.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying.
I mean,
she's very vivacious.
Yeah, she's like very
She
out
knows
there.
herself.
And like one of the things that I'm like really proud of her, like, okay, so I'll admit to one of the struggles I've had in life, particularly with my dad. We're all girls. My mom gave birth to a girl and adopted nothing but girls because she wanted more kids, but like complications, blah blah blah, whatever. Adopted 12 girls.
Wow.
I mean, I'm including myself in the adoption because week to week she changes who she loves more. You know what I mean? Like,
so you grew up around 12?
I mean, more than that. Like, but some of them like were older, and then but now I'm the oldest, so everyone is under me. But anyway, but like and then my dad decided to marry someone else, and then got other girls. Lol, dad. But like his struggle was always for a boy, right? He was like, but a boy, and understandably so. He wants his legacy to go on and so on and so forth. But like the thing that I struggled with the most is that he is the reason why I'm so independent and so like I want to do things on my own and stuff like that. He was like, yo, you're a girl, so what? Like even he, in my formative years, was the guy who would cook for us as well. Like he was a terrible cook, nothing like your dad, but he did it. Like he made the effort to show us that you can learn to be everything in order to be self-sufficient, and therefore when you partner up with somebody, you guys work together, right? So when he flipped the script on me, and suddenly it was so important for him to have a boy, I could not for the life of me fathom this concept he has, because in his family, he's kind of the only one who really made something of himself. Yeah. They're not doing terribly, but they're not at his level of success. And then in my mom's family, they're all boys. She's the only girl. She is currently the only administrator of her parents' estate. Like, if my mom did not exist, that homestead would not exist. And so I keep looking back and forth at my dad like, so what makes you think that a boy is going to bring you the legacy you desire?
It's not contradictory.
Sweetie, God gave you me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like,
did he ever have the boy?
no. God was like, and where?
Does he know that he's the reason?
I mean,
biologically.
One of my self-growth journeys is to have like a honest, candid discussion with my dad. Hopefully he'll agree to do it on camera. It's gonna be like the toughest thing I'll get him to do, but like but I want to have an honest, candid discussion about where he was coming from, what thought processes he had, and so on and so forth, because and so anyway, so that struggle of like being the legacy giver versus being the girl. And my dad, here's the thing, he doesn't even have like the qualms about inheritance and stuff. He's like, yeah, whatever, like if whatever I have, whatever I'll have at the time, I'll give it to you. Like that's not even his issue. His issue is just his name. And I'm like, Dad, we're in 2021.
It's a powerful force.
Yeah. I think it's so important.
We can hyphenate now, Dad.
I think it's really important also for us to have compassion for our parents and the generations that came before us, because what if we're struggling with unlearning even just something as simple as boundaries,
right?
Imagine what it's like for them trying to sort of divorce themselves from what they were taught represents success, or what having a son means in terms of your name. And just because we're in 2021, if it's not a switch as easy as a switch for you, it's not as easy as a switch for them too.
Yeah.
And so that the fact that they believe these things, and even though they can try to be as conversant with what we believe now, there's still some deep-seated beliefs that linger and that define what success is, or define what having, a full, complete family is, or
I feel like it's stronger than a belief. It's a truth.
it's a truth to them. Yeah. So I think just having compassion for parents who've been able to also just allow us to be like, you know what,
Just do
just
it.
watch it.
Times have changed.
Or they are tired.
I know how
They're just like, you know what? Can't
know-
be bothered.
I know how much my mom honestly wants grandkids.
Yeah.
And there was a period there where she'd be like, if you don't use it, but then she stopped. I know
Did
she
she
still
really tell you if you don't use it?
yeah, like my friends would have kids and she's just like, you're not feeling anything. And I know that that's something that she wants so much, and I do want to give her grandchildren.
But does she want it over and above you being in a happy relationship?
Yeah.
So and that's the thing. I give it to my mom because she stopped pressuring me, because I know she understands that I really do want to be in a healthy, loving relationship. And she knows that I wanted kids. There was a time when I was 21, I was just like, I want kids. She's like, you know where they come from. And she was even like, you don't have to be married. If you're not married, that way, your
Sounds
kids
like
can
our
be named
grandmother.
after me and your dad.
Our grandmother was definitely like that.
I mean, would you consider it now? Like,
I don't know if first of all, I don't even know if I'm ready to have kids in like a marriage or a partnership. So single, I don't think I'm there yet. And I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm 35, but I still have time. It's not like back in the day where 35 was now geti mefungwa. Like I know there's advancements. I know there's new research. There's people who've debunked the age 35 and they're like, that's
if you're healthy, it's all good.
So there's time. And also, I want to be in a loving, healthy partnership with a man. And I want to be able to have children within that construct. Not to say that it's the best. I know that there are single parent homes that are wonderful. But for me, I just know I'm not ready yet. And some people have had kids when they're not ready and they're great parents. It's just, I think I'm lucky and privileged enough to have the choice right now.
Exactly. What do you love? What do you like about being a woman? Are there privileges to being a woman?
We get to look cute all the time. Honestly, I think that's my favorite thing. I'm just like, I get to be cute and I'm not bothered by, I feel like men, when they really want to they want to go extra. They want to be extra with like an event and blah, but they're always like holding back a little bit because they're like,
they don't want to be seen as too flamboyant.
Yeah, but they only have they only have two options: trousers and shirts.
Yeah, and
tell me another option. We have so many options.
Thing. If we free ourselves from the bondage, the construct of gender,
emancipate.
I enjoy being a woman. I really do.
I'm gonna say this. I don't have an answer for that because I've never been anything other than a woman. So I have nothing to compare it to.
I guess.
So for me, I answered that question, but I just love being a human being. I'm sure if I was a man, I'd love it. Yeah. But I love being Patricia. And Patricia happens to be a woman. Right? And so that's a question that I really thought about. And I was like, I've never been anything but. Yeah. So it's like somebody asking you, what is it like, being Patricia? I'm like,
I haven't been anyone else.
I've never been anybody else.
I've never tried on something
and
new.
So, and I can't speak to, if I also being a woman, I have the privilege of being the woman that I am in this here. Being
That'll
a
be
woman
the alcohol.
in, say, a society that is still heavily patriarchal, and that's not an experience that I've had either. So I can't speak to womanhood because I don't embody or I haven't experienced what all women have experienced. So I can't speak to what I like about being a woman. I can only speak to what I like about being Patricia Kihoro.
I totally agree. That's my experience as well. Like, primarily I'm Natalie, and I just happen to be a woman who happens to like men. It's not it's not my part of my identity.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, when I was younger, I used to have very kind of vivid accounts of, I'm being serious, when I used to be a boy. Like
I actually think it was a past life of hers because she vividly remembers certain actions.
And my
she
parents
did
used
as
to
a boy.
dismiss it. It was class 7. And I used to say, when I was a boy, I used to do this, I used to do that. And mum was like, okay, yeah, and keep on talking.
I used to wish I was a boy, but only because I was such a tomboy that I was playing with boys. They could easily just go pee in the corner and come back. I had to go all the way home to use the bathroom.
I did that as
I just
a girl.
wanted to be able to pee standing. And the one day when I was playing with Akinale Key, oh my goodness, there was a hole. 2 boys, they peed in it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna pee in it too."
Yeah.
What happened?
Ran to my mom. Mama, and I was like,
So your gender on that occasion held you back.
can you imagine? So like I used to wish I was a boy just so that I could pee standing and
I
not
just
have
wanna
the
make it clear.
inconvenience of having to go home to use the bathroom and come back to play.
I just want to make it clear that in my
I learned
youth,
how to. I
I
how to
have marked
pee standing.
several
They
territory in
have a
Nairobi.
device now. You can Google it, where they've made it so that women can pee standing up.
I have,
Like, if
I
you
have,
really
I have a
wanna-
bunch
There's
of them
like
in the
a
house.
thing.
I just haven't tried them
Oh,
yet.
okay.
What-
I got them
Have it?
right before COVID, so I haven't had the opportunity to.
But do you feel in any way that you've been held back by being a woman in any way?
I want to say yes, because even with my strong personality, I recognize there are times, especially like when you're dealing with quote unquote manly duties. Like, so when I was moving out to a new house, when I was trying to sell my car, when I was, what other occasion? When I was trying to find out about like buying some property, when I've been trying to build some like low income housing in Utawala, and like the project came to a stall because men interfered and took advantage of me.
Okay.
You understand? So, and I feel like at the time I was still with my partner when the project was beginning. At the time I was still with my partner, and I remember like really just pressuring him to be like, as in, I need you to come with me so that they think you're the one who's in charge, so that they get scared. Like, sometimes I really hate the fact that sometimes I need to go and call my neighbor to be around when something is being dropped off, so that people don't take advantage of me. I remember
because of how men view women.
Because of how men view women. So regardless of how, like, because when you meet me, you're not thinking this chick is like
cowering in any way.
Like you're not thinking, but somehow still they feel like they have the room or the space or the permission to take advantage of me because I'm a woman. Like, even if their intention was not that to begin with, like you had a very proper conversation and whatever, then they suddenly show up and they like size you up and down and they're like, oh, okay, girl. And I'm just like, man.
They don't believe you're capable because of your gender.
And also they don't want to take instruction from you.
They don't want to take instruction.
Yes.
And this is the thing. I'm very, like, the other day I sold my couch to a very lovely couple. And I was like, even tugged at my heartstrings, and I was like, God, when me? I'm ready now. And I just love the fact that the husband was constantly like, he was like, oh, tell her about the thing you're doing. Tell her about this you're doing.
So he was her cheerleader.
He's the one who initiated the transaction.
Yeah.
But once she got there, he was like, no, Madam Boss is the one who's speaking. And he wasn't even saying that in like a condescending way, like to be like, yeah, you know I'm in charge, but no, he was like genuinely like, no, she's the one. I just happened to see the advertisement or about the couch, but she's really the one who's the decision maker. So babe, like, this is your floor. Do what is good for you, what is best for you. And that's what I think a lot of people should be like, heterosexual people, but like people in general, what you should be searching for is because relationships are essentially supposed to like expose your weaknesses and your strengths, right? Like, you're not supposed to, I mean, you can try, but like you're not supposed to go into a relationship fully 100% functioning and just like, oh, I can do everything, and you know what I mean. I'm perfect, so I'm ready for whatever relationship. Like relationships actually help expose friendships, partnerships, romantic partnerships, whatever. They help expose your weaknesses and your strengths. And if you guys are open to the idea of listening, men, are you hearing? Pay attention now. If you are open to listening, to unlearning the roles that you're supposed to play, and play to the strengths of your individual relationship. I am better at budgeting, therefore I will handle the body. You are better at like emotional IQ, so you should probably handle like the emotional stuff for the kids and the family and stuff like that. I'm better at I'm in real estate, so I'm better at construction, babe. You never touched a brickstone in your goddamn life, so that's not why we're gonna call you, sweetie. Your time will come. You know what I mean? And I think if you start like envisioning it, so when you meet people, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, and you start to like analyze the situation from the point of, okay, what does this, when they say this is what they say when they mean, what does this person bring to the table? What are their strengths? Not how much money they bring to the table.
So the roles shouldn't be dependent on the gender.
It should be strengths. Because what if my man is like the best interior designer? Am I still
let him be that?
The one to panga the house? So we will have green and purple doors. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that to me. But what if my husband is a hairdresser? First of all, if you are a hairdresser, my number is 07.
I agree with you, and I resonate with you completely, because, you know, this year I've spent a lot of time, you know, seeing somebody who is just so emotionally mature and like has,
where did you find that?
Like, he has, and he doesn't like taking credit for it, but he has taught me so much about myself, and I'm definitely a better person on the emotional side, especially because of what I've learned from him and how just gentle and kind, and like, can you imagine learning how to be kind to yourself and actually finally learning what it means to love yourself from somebody who, you know, if we were to go by societal standards, emotions are not their forte, you know? So I do agree with you wholeheartedly that people should just bring their strengths to the table, but also not be afraid to show their weaknesses, because that's how we grow.
We balance it out. That's why we see the gaps and see what needs support, what doesn't, you know? I mean,
exactly.
Ladies, we can talk about this forever.
If we could.
I mean, I think this has been a really great conversation, and I hope that it's impacted people who are listening to kind of question their thought processes on what it means to be a woman, contrary to what it means to be a man. So I'm really grateful, I'm really humbled for both of your insights and your input. I could listen to you all day. And
I just want to say, we're playing with all these flowers and pink. We're kind of playing up to the stereotype. Doesn't necessarily mean that this is what we believe women should be like at all.
I know you asked
me.
You were like, oh,
this is, we had baked items.
I didn't say
this is more a representation of soft life than femininity to me. Like, food is available, drink is available, good laughter is available. That is good life, good living, not feminine living.
I like that spin.
Okay, so, and then to add on to playing to the stereotype, I got my girlies a little something just from the kingdom to you. So I mean, you can decide which one you want.
I'll go for the middle one because
so you know, just so you know,
pink.
Whoa,
the
plus one the kingdom. Okay,
so cool.
I love this.
Wow. Oh my god!
OMG!
Also, I'm putting mine on right now,
and like some fishnets that you can find at the plus one the kingdom.
So this goes on your leg.
No,
on your
head.
On your head.
It goes
I mean,
with my
bro,
outfit.
You can do it however
Any way
you
you
like.
It goes with my outfit. I'm wearing it straight away.
What? Please do it.
There you go. Oh my god. You see, look.
Yeah,
velvet,
I love
velvet.
Oh, it's so cute.
Bro, I
I'm
feel
gonna
like,
wear it
I
from
love
now until forever.
Oh,
Okay.
this is life.
I mean,
Oh, does it suit me?
and the fishnets are like a new discovery for me.
Nice.
I started wearing them recently, and I feel
Very nice.
so damn powerful.
Yeah.
Like it's when I'm wearing it over clothes, it's like my little secret. Like it's like, ugh, you don't
My
know.
Like your
mom used to
superpower.
wear fishnets
Vixen.
when I was
I
young.
think
My
Moses
mom
is
was
gonna
the
like
best
this
with
very
that.
much.
You're welcome.
Love it.
Alright.
I would like the proceeds from your first anniversary, okay? and yeah, and I mean, it's also like a cheat code for lingerie, you know.
I
Like,
totally see that.
I mean, right? It's a cheat code. Like if you don't want to spend too much money, but you want to
Yeah,
like
just
do a
do that.
little something, just
I
throw
love
on some
this.
fishnets and be like,
All right.
"Ah."
No, I love this,
Could you
encouraging
elaborate?
women to be more sexually assertive as well.
I
'Cause that's
mean-
another thing that, you know, typically
Yeah.
in the past we weren't allowed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very aggressive. Like,
No.
if you can handle the heat, don't call me. Don't text me. I'm Luya, the Luya endorsement. Yeah, it's not just BN who's talking about shit. The girls got it too.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
I mean,
it.
just
Love
for
this
me to
gift.
you, just to say
you.
hello.
This is so kind of you.
Yeah.
So
And thank you so
considerate.
much, ladies, for joining us.
Thanks for
You've
having
been
us.
Yeah.
exceptional.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes, I love all this vivaciousness and just all this beauty. I love it.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
really great to be around. This is my goal in life, to be surrounded by powerful women, because powerful women push you forward.
Yes.
And I just want to say something. First of
Go
all,
ahead.
I mean, maybe we're going overboard, but I want to say Mama Rocks has really tried to help me find love. I want to say thank you, girls. You really,
We
you
did
really
it.
tried to do
Yeah.
that.
We
And
didn't share the
literally
story.
Pre-pandemic, you're trying to prep. I don't know whether you
You want to share the story
I mean, girl, it was
of how we even know each other?
Okay,
Okay,
okay, I can
Go.
share it. So, I did a story on my Instagram about how I saw some guy and I was trying to be sexually assertive. I mean, not sexually, but like romantically assertive. Like, let a guy know, like, hey, what's up? Like, I see you, boo. And it didn't work out. He thought I was a friend of his girlfriend. I was like,
Wow.
Yeah, got shut down.
anywho, so the beautiful ladies Natalie and Samantha saw this video and they were like, "Oh my god, girl, let's help you find somebody. Come through." Unfortunately, it didn't work out as we planned because the crop.
What happened there?
I did
then?
tell you guys this story.
Yeah, well, you did. I saw you that
Well,
night.
we have to rewind
Alright,
a bit.
go
We
on.
did a call out
Yeah,
on our social media.
So yeah, you guys decided to do a call out for me for Valentine's of
Yes.
2020.
To set up
Valentine's
to
is
set her up on a
coming.
date.
Please,
Yeah,
your
your boyfriend.
Yeah. So we kind of decided to go with 3 dates. The first one was actually a friend of mine, because at that point I was just like, oh my god, like anybody, guys, somebody apply to be a date of mine. So I didn't even know he actually went through with it, but that was nice. So he was a friend of mine, and we did that. We had a good time. I mean, something else happened, but
Yeah. So
Anyway,
you're missing out the most crucial part of the story.
I mean, hold on, because that story is like a bigger story, right? But the second guy who still calls me to date from time to time, is like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a white girlfriend. We do business together, but you can't be my girlfriend. He was Nigerian.
Okay.
I mean, tell your brothers, please.
Okay.
I'm not taking ownership of that one.
Tell him, please.
They're forced
No,
onto
but-
their own.
No,
So-
wait. Isn't that a good thing that he's upfront?
But he wants another side chick.
Yeah.
But
It
I
doesn't
don't
mean
think
you
she,
have
I
to
don't
say
think she
yes.
wanted
Okay,
that.
yeah, it's true.
You know,
He's
it's
giving
like
you the
it's-
option.
he's
Alright,
just-
he's being
I
truthful.
like
Very
But I
Yeah.
don't know
honest,
that
that's
he
good.
was even being as truthful. Like, I feel like he was using it more as a some kind of leverage, as opposed to being like, oh, I just want to let you know up
Okay,
front
right.
what's
Okay.
going on.
Right.
Okay.
The third one turned out to be, third time is a charm, turned out to be the perfect date. I mean, he was
good.
fine. He was tall.
Uh-huh.
He was doing his own thing. He was trying to be ambitious. Here's the
Trying to
problem.
be.
He was 23.
Oh.
Good.
Okay.
Ain't got
Good.
nothing but a number.
No. It is. I will
It
tell
is a
you.
number beyond. I mean, you want to get to like 27,
Yeah.
maybe we could talk. Like, you've been through some shit, so
Yeah.
you've grown enough to like
Yeah.
do some shit.
Yeah.
But like 23,
I-
like I'm not
yeah.
going to be out here with the house,
Yeah.
like fighting with them house.
Did he look
Yeah.
23? Could you have got away with it?
I could have gotten away with it. I've actually met him a few times. That night ended up being crazy. Should I tell this part of the story?
You could, but I couldn't.
Yeah, she's got.
Oh, you need to go. Sorry. Anyway,
Sorry.
but anyway,
extra.
thank you.
Sorry.
But the other thing I wanted to say is, Patricia, like, I don't know you definitely don't know this because you didn't know this, but like, you've been a very big inspiration to me. And every time I see you putting out videos, and especially when you're talking about like struggling with like your content creation and stuff like that, I was actually watching you on Monday before you texted me, and I was like, oh, Patricia's I was like, you inspire people more than you know, right? And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being like genuinely you, and like, girl, just
See, women supporting
keep
other
doing
women.
you.
Right
Thank
there.
you.
Love
keep
it.
doing you.
Thank you.
And guys, please just support everything
Yeah.
here.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
That was
so
beautiful.
much. I
Thank
was so
you.
excited to meet you when I read your bio. I was just like, like confidence. Like I was
I
like,
really
yep.
did self-proclaimed confidence champion, but
I
like
love that.
the plus one princess.
Yes.
I love that.
We'll put
This
all
has
your
been-
details
it's
under
great.
underneath.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that.
Thank you.
All
No,
right.
thank you so much for having us. And
It's a pleasure.
this conversation
Yeah,
was
it's
so
been
wonderful.
amazing.
I'm so glad I got to meet you today
I'm
because
so
your
glad.
energy is just like
Yeah, I know.
I just want to like soak it up. And
So this is the thing I was asking. How much do I charge? Should I go and wrap up again?
Please do. All right, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
See you next time.
Adios.
boy, guys.
Bye. Not that accent.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Boy and girl.